The instructions here, if you're, I don't have them in here, but you're given this. You're given y equals x squared plus 4x, and you need to figure out what goes here. And that's what they mean by this c.
So
And
solving for C.
well, kind of like you do this, you need this number later on. So maybe your instructor says, if it's in this form, it's always half of b divided by 2 squared. Maybe you saw that in class, like b over 2 squared. Okay, and that's partially true. There's some cases where it's not true. But let's look at it off to the side here and like see like why does this work. So let's say this was x squared plus 4x plus 4. Now if I asked you to factor this, you get x plus 2 times x plus 2, which can be rewritten as x plus 2 squared. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
On the right here. So you're trying to figure out the number so that this thing right here, it condenses into x plus 2 squared. And in other words, it's like undoing this on the right, like it's like expanding this. Like, okay, it's x plus 2 times x plus 2, and then using FOIL. So x squared, 2x plus 4, and you get x squared plus 4x plus 4. You're trying to figure out that number right there.
All right.
So 1 through 4 in this worksheet are finding this c value. Okay, and it's always the same the way these are written. It's half of the middle number squared, with one little exception. So let's just do this real quick, and then move to the ones I think you're really interested about. So this number right here, you take this number 14, you cut it in half. So step 1, half. Step 2 is you square it. So 14.
7, but would I write it plus 49?
Yes, 7 squared, and you'd write 49. You'd write c equals 49. All right, now 3 is kind of this first exception. No, I'm sorry, 3 is not the exception. Thinking of something else. So this is the same deal here. This is, I can't even tell, is this a plus or a minus?
I think it was a minus.
I think it's a minus 2. Okay, doesn't really matter because when you cut it in half, you get -10, and then you square it,
and then it's positive 100.
Yeah, so the point is that c is always positive. But that's only partially true. That's because there's a 1 here, positive, and 1 out in front.
C is almost always positive.
Right, and it'll get you in the later examples. Okay, so let's look at number 5, which is really where I wanted to start the lesson, because this is what you're really asking about. Okay, so we're just going to focus on completing the square for the moment, or CTS, completing the square. And there's really 2 purposes for completing the square that we'll get into, but let's just talk about how we're going to complete the square. Okay, so if you got pencil paper out, definitely would encourage you to write these steps down. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write x squared plus 10x, leave a space, equals, and then I'm going to move this to the other side of the equation. But you're leaving a space right here. This is critical.
All right.
And you kind of did this in yours. You wrote y minus 15 over here to the left. You'll see why it's over here on the right when we're all done. So now instead of calling this c, this thing c right here, just get the number. What is half of 10 squared?
25.
25. So I'm going to write 2 lines. And if you add 25 to this side, you also have to add 25 to this side for balance. It's like your brother gets a gift and you get a gift, or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, for balance here. Okay, now on the left side here, we're compressing, and I call this a compressing step. You're writing something squared here, and this is actually what's more important here. What goes in here is x, and then half of this number right here. What is half of 10?
5.
Now it's positive because that's positive. Now on the right-hand side, you're going to add these two numbers together. What do they equal?
10.
10. Okay. Now you're going to move this back. Okay. And you do that with a subtraction step. You're subtracting 10 from both sides. So now this y equals comes down. X plus 5 squared minus 10.
X plus 5 squared minus 10. So this is a more efficient way than compared to what I was doing before.
It's different words. It's the same steps, but it's different words. Its advantages occur when you do more complicated problems.
Okay. I'm gonna make sure to start doing this one then.
So rather than focusing on like vertex and solving, let's just do another one, because you have to know how to do the steps. You have to get the recipe down for this so that you can do it on an exam. Because as I mentioned, there's two times you complete the square, but we're just focusing on completing the square. We're making the pizza dough right now. We don't know what kind of pizza we're making.
What does the CTS thing mean?
Complete the square.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, complete.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's not the Cadillac, whatever turbo sport. Yeah, it's not that. So, or whatever else CTS could stand for. Okay, so again, notice I did not write the y equals. I just bring the x squared minus 8x, leave a space, equals, and I move this to the other side of the equation, which is over here to the right now.
All right.
Okay, now it could be positive, it could be negative, doesn't really matter. We need to fill in this position and this position. And they're the same. These are the same. Whatever goes here is also going to go here.
All right.
So what goes in this position is half of this number squared. It's always positive, almost.
I guess 4, then 4 squared is 16.
So this is -4, but when you square it, it's positive 16. And notice again, same thing in both positions.
All right, and then you have.
So this next step, I call it the compress step. Okay, but you're essentially factoring. You're factoring. And maybe your instructor didn't say this, but this is always what's called a perfect square trinomial. Was that said in class?
I think I've heard it before.
Okay. So that's x minus 4 squared. The reason it's -4 is because it's half of this.
Wait. Half of 8 is not like 4 times 4 equals 16.
Half of 8 is -4.
Okay. X minus 4 squared. I just keep it that equals 20.
Equals 20. Okay.
And subtract 20.
Yes.
And y equals x minus 4 squared minus 20.
Yes.
Sweet.
Okay. So let's do another one here of these. Oh, you sent a lot of stuff. It's good, but just get ready here. Okay, let me do 7, and let me try to we're doing the same thing, and this is the type of math practice I like, because you know repetition is good, and we're trying to learn a very specific skill. So it's x squared plus 14x equals, and then you move this to the other side of the equation. So you add 14, like you undo whatever this is.
All right.
Is this clear?
So you get the c by itself.
No, you leave a space for c. I don't think it's good to think of it as c, because it's not c. C is actually that.
I thought that was an. Okay, my bad. Yeah, I get that.
Okay, so this time we're going to do this first. What goes down here? Well, it's x, and then it's half of this number. What is half of this number?
7.
Plus 7 squared. Now, the number that goes here comes from this. It's 7 squared. What's 7 squared?
Plus 49.
Plus 49 plus 49. Okay. And I find it's better to go kind of down and then back up to do these.
Down and up. So like
so write this binomial squared first, and then and then put the number back.
Binomial square first, then put number back. I'm gonna write in the quotations like a dip. Okay. So then you'd have 63. Yeah, 63.
63. And then you
have
you move it.
y. Oh, subtract 63 from.
Right, because you got to move it back over.
So y equals x plus 7 squared minus 63.
Right.
So were the first four not asking for the full-on thing? It was just the first part because they didn't have.
1 through 4, we're just asking for this number, which it's kind of useful, but once you do 1 or 2, you got it, and it's too formulaic because you're not gonna get problems like that. Okay, I would like you to try this one on your own. Take 2 minutes. I will work it out with you if you need it, but give yourself time. And this is a minus, it looks like. How are you doing on that?
Is it y equals x minus 3 squared minus 26?
Possibly. So let me go through it here. So again, x squared minus 6x, leave a space, equals minus 17. So notice you're moving this to the other side. Like I'm putting an equal 0 here.
Oh, so I have to change. Okay, well, then I would change it to be instead -8. -8, then it would be plus 17 instead of -26.
Well, remember you're adding 9 to both sides. Do you see that?
Oh, so it would just be plus 8.
Yes.
Okay. Plus 8.
So this skill is like super critical to have down. We should do a few more before we move to 10, 11.
Yeah, that sounds good with me.
Those, because those are all sort of variations on this, and or they're little wrinkles. I would call them different cases. So let's try another one here. Y equals x squared minus 10x plus 15. Do you want to try this one on your own, or do you want me to work it out with you?
Yeah, I think I'd like to try it.
Okay, you take a minute or two here.
Okay, is it y equals x minus 5 squared minus 10?
All right, that looks pretty good. So you said x minus 5 squared minus 10, and that is correct. Do you
Okay.
want to do one more before we move on to a new type? Are you ready for the new type?
Let's do the new type.
Okay.
This, like what we were just doing, you can technically do like in mental math almost, like once you get good enough.
Yes, and that's why they make them, more difficult
Yeah.
because it and that's how I'm able to check. I can work out it backwards. I'm going backwards and saying, does this go back to this?
Mhm.
That's how I'm checking it. And it's kind of like mental math, like you said.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I noticed like at the end there, I was kind of doing like some mental math. I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is doable mentally.
Yeah. Okay. So this is gonna be a little harder. Notice there's a negative in front. This is like, I would call this type 2 because there's a negative in front.
All right, I'm gonna write that down.
And what it does is it adds in extra steps, and it slightly varies what you do, but it's the same process. Okay. So first thing you're going to do is you are going to move this to the other side. So it's negative x squared plus 2x equals negative 4.
Wait, what's that? What's the words you wrote there? Like
Negative in front.
negative in front. Thank you.
It's like a equals -1 type.
All right, all right.
Are you okay up to this step? Do you have this down?
Yeah, I just got that all down.
Okay. So this is where it's different. You factor out a -1 from both of these. So this is factor out -1.
Factor out -1. So then you have negative x squared. So you have to solve it and then also.
Just kind of like stay with me. Don't let me know when you get
All right,
up to this step, because this
that's
is,
good.
I mean,
I got there.
you're right here. Okay. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm going to do here is in blue right here. This is from the previous problems. You know how to do this. Forget about the negative. What do you do in terms of like writing that as a binomial squared?
+4.
What, no. You have to take half of this.
Oh, okay. X
So
minus 1.
x minus 1 squared. Okay. If you like the blue, you know how to do. That's x minus 1 squared. Now what goes in this position right here?
+1.
+1, exactly. Now, if you distribute the negative to all three of these, what goes in this position up here?
-1.
Very good. And what do you have to do on both sides? -1.
-1.
So see how you work down and then back up?
Yeah.
That's the approach that I prefer here.
And then you'd have
So now this negative comes down.
minus x squared plus 2x equals -5.
No. You got to leave it like this in this form.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So now that we've come back up, you have to do this stuff on the right side, and then you can move this back over by adding 5 to both sides. So it's y equals negative x minus 1 squared plus 5.
+5 plus 5
We're going to do another one, but is that one somewhat clear?
Yeah, I think it's like somewhat clear if I just
Yeah.
practice.
We're going to do another one together, and then I'll give you at least one to do on your own here. Okay, so number 12. So again, does not matter which type you're doing. You always move this to the other side of the equation first.
Okay.
Are you to this step?
Yeah, so I'd
Okay.
write like x plus 2 in
No,
the
you got to factor out the negative next.
right.
So that's x squared minus 4x. Leave a space.
So then parenthesis x minus 2
Squared. Okay.
squared, then
So bring this negative down. This is
yeah.
important not to forget it. But now what goes in this line 2, what goes here?
Plus 4.
Plus 4. And you're used to putting it over here, but the problem is there's this negative out in front. So you have to distribute this negative to all three, and this becomes negative 4. And that's what has to match over here.
All right.
Do you see how these are the same?
Yeah, I do.
So this equals 6. And then you have to move the 6 back over.
6 back over. So then you'd have y equals negative x minus 2 squared minus 6. And is
Yes.
there a reason why I just keep it as negative like that?
Out in front?
Yeah, or
Yes. It has to do with there's two reasons you complete the square. One is to find the vertex, and another is to solve. Like, so this helps you doing one or the other.
mhm.
So yes. Like, you don't want to expand this, which is what I kind of heard in a previous problem, because then you're going back where you started.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. So do you have these down, like these notes down for the last two problems? I want to give you one like this.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Now, I don't expect you to be able to do this on your own, but I want you to try.
Okay.
Okay. So I want you to complete the square on this one, please.
All right.
I'll check back with you in a minute or two. How are you doing on that one, Zach?
I think I just finished.
All right, so I'm gonna work out the steps here, just because typically a few sample problems are needed. So it's minus x squared minus 4x, leave a space, equals negative 6. I'm moving this to the other side. Factor out the negative, x squared plus 4x, leave a space. Okay, and then we condense this. So this is x plus 2 squared. Bring the negative down.
Mhm.
This position becomes plus 4, but then because of this negative, it's minus 4 minus 4. Those have to match.
Mhm.
Minus 10, and then you add 10 to get back to this side. Is this your final answer?
I have -4 instead of +10. So I think I messed up like one of those steps.
Okay. Well, what do you see? Do you see
Oh
something?
wait, I think I know what I did. I think I didn't put my I just never put my -4 with the -6.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to write that down real quick.
Let's try another one if you're are you ready for it, or do you
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
Going on.
All right, so y equals negative x squared plus 6x minus 8.
All right. Would you mind also showing the one above it? While I do this one, I might need some practice.
Let me
I'll just look
yeah,
into
let me
it.
just rescale this up here a little bit.
All right,
Yeah,
thank
there you go. It's the same recipe, just different numbers. How are you doing on this one?
I think I'm almost done.
Okay, let me know when you're done.
Okay. Y equals negative parentheses x plus 3 squared minus 17.
Okay, so I heard a plus in here. Is that true?
Yes, plus 3.
Okay, so let's let me just work through this one again, because there's a sign error there. So as I mentioned, you're moving this -8 to the other side, so it's gonna be +8 over here because you're adding it. And then very critical is you factor this negative out of everything, so it's x squared minus 6x.
Minus 8.
Yeah, well, no. Okay, so what's again, like what's in the parentheses here? Like, you know how to do this. You take half of -6 and put it inside parentheses. What's half of -6?
Negative 3.
Squared, right? Bring the negative down. Okay, that comes down. The
Plus
number
9.
in here, +9. But because there's a negative outside, it's -9, -9. Those have to match.
Minus 9, minus 9.
Right. So then at some point you got to do this. So it's -1 equals -1. And then you move this over, adding 1 to both sides.
Equals minus x plus 3 plus 1. All right.
So we got to do another one here. This is totally common to just not have this down. The negatives just throw a wrench into everything.
Yeah.
But that's the one you'll get on the test. So, there are some formulas, but I don't like them because you won't remember the formulas next year when you need this. You'll maybe remember this once you see an example or two again. So let's try another one here. Let's try y equals negative x squared plus 10x minus 15.
Cool.
Actually, yeah, that's okay. That's good. Okay. So give this one a try. I'll check back with you in 1 to 2 minutes and we'll see how you do.
All right. Is it y equals minus x? Oh, wait, actually, no, we need to go through it.
Okay, I'll wait for you.
X squared plus 10x squared. Wait, oh my god. It's x plus 5 squared minus 40.
Okay, so I'm hearing a sign error again. Does your first line, this is one of those where you just got to exactly replicate what I do for this to work. Does your first line look like this?
Yes.
Okay, your next line, you're factoring out x squared. So, but you're factoring out of everything. So see how this became negative?
No, I did not make that negative.
Yeah, that's where you're making your mistake. It's factored at both of these terms, you know. So there's a little more explanation that could go into this. Like every line is supposed to equal each other. We don't have the time to show that, but like if this were an in-class thing, I would like have like, you know, this row, show that this line is still the same. If this, you know, everybody would, you said we all believe that this is the same every time. Okay, so now this becomes x minus 5 squared. Bring the negative down. What number goes in here? You told me that plus 25. Then you subtract 25, subtract 25. But I heard negative 40, or I heard 40 over here. That means that you didn't move it. Like, see how it's negative here and it's positive here? Because you're literally moving, like you're setting it equal to 0, but then you're adding 15 to both sides to get it here.
Right.
So this is minus 10. And then equals minus 10. And then you move it back over by adding 10 to both sides. So you get y equals minus x minus 5 squared plus 10.
Huh. All right.
All right, we gotta do another one. We got to.
always put something.
What's that?
Oh, it's like I understand how this all works. I just don't know if I'm not getting it right.
Well, I think we've identified that from this step to this step. When you factor out -1, you factor out -1 from both terms, not just the first one, from the middle term as well. Okay, so I got to give you one more. Do you have this down? Do you have these notes down? Do you have a picture of it?
Yeah, here, I'll also just take a picture.
Take a quick picture. I mean, you will have the video, you'll have the notes at the end, but like I gotta have you do one on your own, completely correct. That's really important here for confidence, for like, because the next ones are, in some ways they're not, in some ways they're easier, but it's the exact same thing. It's just it's just a slight variation on this. So
all right, this is the one.
Okay, so not to put too much pressure on you, let's see if you can do this. So y equals negative x squared plus 12x minus 16.
Okay, and I already have that written down. Do you think you could scroll up to the one just above?
Sure.
All right, thank you. Since there's a minus outside the parentheses, it becomes negative 10x, right?
Well, we don't have 10x in yours.
Wait,
Yours is this one.
what am I? Sorry, I don't know what I was saying there.
That's okay.
Plus 12. So it would become, in the parentheses, negative 12, correct?
I don't know what line you're on.
I'm on the second one where you put the parentheses in with a negative on the outside. So it's like x squared.
Yes, minus 12x.
All right, thank you. So would I write it is x minus 6 squared? Because that's half of it.
Yeah, you end up getting this in one of your lines.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, good. How are you doing on this one?
I think I'm doing okay.
Okay.
All right. I want to see you write it all out and see what I have.
Okay. So I agree with this line right here. So the next thing is to put the number here, the C, and it's this number squared. It's always positive. But then because of this negative over here, I have to negate the 36, negate the 36.
Mhm.
So because I moved the negative 16 over, that's why it's positive here. This is negative 20 equals negative 20. I'm going to add 20 to both sides.
Mhm.
So we get y equals negative x minus 6 squared plus 20.
Negative x minus. Oh my God. Literally the one thing I didn't do was just square the parentheses.
But you had everything else, but this not the square.
I have. Do you want me to send you like it matches?
No,
It
no,
matches.
it's okay. We're gonna move to the next ones. What I would recommend is going back and redoing all the ones we've done in this lesson. Maybe not today, but at some point, and maybe tomorrow. But because I want to make sure we get through the other type here. This is type 3. This is when a is greater than 1, and all that means is that the leading coefficient is it's not a 1 anymore. It's not a negative 1 either. It's well, in this case, in most time it's like a 2, could be a 3.
Okay.
Let me snip one of those in. Yeah, we'll snip 9 in. You don't have to deal with negatives anymore, but it's the same set of steps. That's why I like this approach, because it's consistent. So again, first thing you do is you move the plus 22 over to the other side of the equation. So it's minus 22.
All right.
You follow that? Is that okay? Like we've done this, like every problem you do this step.
Yeah, I get that.
Okay. Now, because there's a 2 out in front, instead of factoring out like this was negative before, you factor a 2 out, but you factor it out of everything. So if you multiply this 2 in, do you get back to the previous line? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, it's 2x squared minus 12x. So again, we always get this back to a problem that you know how to do. You know how to compress this x squared minus 6x. What is half of negative 6?
Negative 3 squared.
X minus 3 squared. Bring the 2 down.
Plus
Okay.
9.
Plus 9. Now that would be fine, except there's a 2 out in front. What is 2 times 9?
18.
Plus 18, but you got to do it in both places.
So then.
So this is negative 4. And then you got to move the negative 4 back by adding 4 to both sides. 2 times x minus 3 squared plus 4
Plus
y
4.
equals.
All right.
Okay, so we're going to do another one. We're going to do number 11. No, yeah, we're going to do number 11, and time permitting, we'll do some more. But I really hope you're seeing these are the same. It's the same set of steps. You're just
I see like the connection with all of them. It's just like a little like each row is kind of messing with me a bit.
Yeah. Okay, so very first step is you move the last number, 17 in this case, to the other side of the equation.
All right, so then you'd have
So then you factor out a 2 from everything. X squared
x squared
plus,
plus 6x
okay, leave a space.
equals negative 17, or I wouldn't write that yet.
You can or can't. I mean, it's up to you. What we're trying to do is get this number back here. And that's the whole game. So now let's compress this trinomial. So what is half of 6?
3.
X plus 3 squared. Bring the 2 down.
18.
3 squared is
9.
9. And then 2 times 9 is
18.
and that's what you add to both sides of the equation.
So for the equals right there, would I write minus 17 plus 18 again?
Or eventually you got to evaluate it. So it's up to you whether you do it in this step or the next one. I guess I've been inconsistent. It's
right there.
What's that?
I can just say it equals 1.
Yes.
All right.
And then you're moving this over. So you're subtracting 1, subtracting 1.
All right. This seems a little bit easier.
Okay. So let's try another one here. Let's have you try. Do you have these notes down?
No, I don't have for this one in specific.
Okay, but do you have the one for the previous one down?
Yeah.
Okay, because I want to give you one like it. Like it's the same steps, just try it on your own. We got enough time for you to do at least one problem.
All right, sounds
Let
good.
me give it to you here. It is y equals 2x squared minus 8x plus 7.
All right. Can I talk to you while I do it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You can tell me what to do if you would like.
All right. So you get, here, let me flip my page. So you have to get write the 2 parentheses.
Nope. First step is this. You got to move this number over. That's the first step.
Right. I don't know. All right, there you go. I don't know how I forgot that. That was the easy part.
And that's the same in all the problems. It doesn't matter whether it's 1 or negative, it's always the same.
So then you have 2 parentheses, you divide the 2 out of everything.
That's right.
X squared minus 4x, reparenthesize, then x minus 4 squared, and then the 2 goes
Wait,
down.
It's not 4 though. It's not 4 here. 2, yeah. Okay. And then you bring this to a lot of 2's. So now what goes?
4 times 2 would be 8.
So what goes here has to go here.
Plus 8 plus 4, and then minus 7 plus 8. So then you'd have 1.
Mm-hmm.
So 2x squared minus 8x equals 1. Then subtract 1, y equals x squared minus 4 squared minus 1.
No, this is done. You're not expanding this binomial ever.
So x minus.
So let me just, I'm gonna send this to you right away. This is the final answer in every one. You're not expanding it. You're not expanding it. See how it's something times something squared plus something.
Could you go back down? I don't know what I really messed up.
Okay. Unfortunately, we do have to end the lesson here. I'm going to send you these notes within like 2 minutes. So
all right,
you will have it here. It's worth, again, I'll repeat, it's worth like watching this video, looking at the notes. You can get this. It is not impossible. You just need practice, and then you'll have it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I will see you next time. Thanks so much for scheduling. Have a great day.
All right, thank you.
Bye now.